Hello, here we are again, carrying on with my arty journey, arty life journey, and still at the sixth form stage. I'm going to be talking today about things that I did in my own time. So there's certain stuff you do at sixth form, there's certain stuff you do for fun at home. And it was around this time that my sister-in-law contacted me and asked if I could decorate an acoustic guitar for her, something I've never done before. Give it a go. And she asked if I could put some pictures on which were done by an artist called Brian Froud. Now, you may not have heard him, but you may have heard of some of the films he's dealt with. He did the artwork for The Labyrinth. He did all the wonderful creatures there. He also, one of my favourite films, The Dark Crystal. He came up with the creatures for The Dark Crystal. Okay, so full of absolutely wonderful drawings, these books. And remember, when we're talking 81, 82, computers were only just starting to come out in sixth forms, stuff like that, if you took IT, but they were not general things. They weren't household items. We didn't have any of these things, these mobile phones. We didn't have a PC at home. So everything, information, was garnered from books. I bought loads of books to do with sci-fi, fantasy art. I love that sort of art. Okay, so the information that I had to work from was a book. And I ended up doing something like this. So you see there's the front of the guitar. I've only got these tiny pictures to show what I did. I put in these on. These were from a book called Fairies by Brian Froud, and then this one was on the back where he'd done this near almost crouching down fairy like there. Notice how lifelike the image was. In fact, you'll see it better. What I'm going to show you in a minute is I'm going to show you a still photograph, and in the bottom left hand corner is the original Brian Froud one that I copied from, and you'll see there how accurate it is. It's my guess he actually got someone to pose so that he could do sketches from that, which is what a lot of artists do when they're doing figures and stuff like that. Okay, they will get people to stand in those poses and draw them. You can't make up something like that. No way. You've got to look at the human body, which I'll talk about more in a few minutes. But here's the still slide for you also to have a look at. You can see that and compare his version and my version. Mine's a bit blurred. That was Brian Froud. Now, the other artist who I've mentioned before, who I was really, really impressed with his work, was Frank Frazetta. Okay, another. Well, he became known as the godfather of fantasy art, and he was prolific between the 1950s right up to the early 2000s, producing work like this. Again, I have a strategically placed fingers here because we're covering up a picture which nowadays would be classed a little bit over the top, a little bit sensitive, which is a shame, but that's the way it goes. He produced these fantastic pictures, and again, I've mentioned this before, I spent a lot of time improving my skills by copying his artwork, and I came up, I did that picture there, which is done in pen and ink. So a dip in pen, nib pen that you dip into ink, and then you draw it, then you dip it back in, and you draw, and you keep going on like that. And I produced that image there, and that, I can certainly show you the inspiration for the bottom part of that picture. Let's get this up here. There you go. That was Frazetta's version there, and we put it onto there. Now, strangely enough, that picture, as well as the guitar which I showed you, the Brian Froud guitar, led to a friend at sixth form asking if I could paint two of his guitars. Fantastic. And I gave him the Frank Frazetta books to look at, and he came up with the ideas that he would like to have put on to the guitar. So we came up with that one there, which again has got that picture from my original drawing one, and then I added one of the other Frazetta pictures up at the top there. I think that one's called Night Stalker. Yeah, Night Stalker. There it is. On there. So I combined them together. I've only got black and white photos of this, which is a shame actually. These were done, by the way, with Airfix model paint. Okay, which are oil-based paints, so you know, using terps to clean your brushes and stuff like that. So that's that one. And then this one, this was another one that I did for him. Again, we've got some Frazetta more cartoon-like versions there, but these were on the front here. And I can only show you the full versions of the front of the guitar. The reason I can't show you the full versions of the back, well, I'm going to show you the back guitars, but there's things that I've had to delete from it because basically it's got naked females on it. Nowadays we can't really plaster that lot across on social media and stuff like that, so even though I'm really pleased with the drawings that I did, I was asked to do these two pictures. I've had to blot out the naked ladies on there just to make it acceptable, because I know there's going to be some people looking at this who are quite young. There's other people who will be offended by sort of thing, and even though, you know, artists do paint naked people, which I can talk about more another time, I blotted it out so as not to cause offence. So if you look at the still photographs that I'm just going to put up now, you'll get an idea of what was on the back. But obviously I can't show, I'm not going to show you the originals. La-di-da-di-da. Here we go. So there we go. Hopefully I've not caused any offence and things like that. But I'm going to move on, and I'm actually going to move on now because I've got 3 pictures to show you which I painted when I was at Manchester Polytechnic. So we're talking between 1983 and 84. We're talking the summer holidays actually. 84 summer holidays. And I spent ages, hours locked away in my bedroom. Mum and Dad never saw me. And all I did was paint all through the summer holidays. And I painted pictures for people and stuff like that. And 3 of the pictures that I did were based on Frank Frazetta paintings. There's one of them there that I copied from, the Tarzan and the Ant-Man. And, you know, fantastic painting. And I've got to say, there's no way he would have been able to just make that up. He would have had to have looked at a human body, a male body, to get that amount of detail in there. Okay, you cannot just make that up off the top of your head. And that's, I'll show you this here. This is really a step-by-step guide as to how I did it, from sketching it out to starting the painting. These were done in watercolour paints. And there's the finished article there on this one here, so it shows you step by step. So that was the Tarzan one. And then we have this one, Viking one, the front of the boat there. Again, fantastic picture. Strong use of light and dark, remember that, linking it to Rembrandt, etc, etc. So with that one there, I can then show you again another step by step from the initial sketching it out to then coming up with the final version there. Really enjoyed doing these pictures. And the final one I want to show you, I've still got it, but I haven't got the original painting to show you. If I can, I'll find a slide and put it in after this one. Again, I think I must have borrowed the book from the library, from the college library for this one, because I certainly haven't got the book. I've never had the book with this in. I need to get it actually. But here we go. This is called The Dark Kingdom. Some of you may well recognise this picture, because this was used as a album cover for a band called Molly Hatchet. In fact, they used another 2 of his pictures for their record covers. His work has appeared on a few. He's done one for Nazareth, and he's done another one for Wolf Mother. Well, he didn't do it for them, but they chose to have his pictures put on their record. They'll have paid a fortune for it. The original Frank Frazetta one sold in 2023 for $6 million. Incredible. And he died by then as well, poor fella. So he didn't see much benefit out of that, did he really? But I was really pleased with this picture. I'd have been, what would I have been there? 84, 19. I'd have been 19 when I painted that. And it did take, like I say, it took a long time. Sat on my own. The artist's life is not a very sociable life. You've got to be happy in your own company when you're doing these paintings. I literally turn my music, it's probably where my love of music has come from as well. I turn my music on, listen to that, and painted for hours and hours and hours. And it suited me. It really did suit me. Funnily enough, a few years ago when I was ill, I ended up with a counsellor, and they actually said that I suffer from social anxiety, which I thought, what a load of tosh. You know, I'm a teacher, I'm standing in front of kids all day and taught them. But when they explained it all, you know, and not feeling totally comfortable in crowds and stuff like that, it was spot on. And it was spot on for me. You know, I'm sat in the room on my own painting away. But hey ho, that's the way it goes. You just have to get used to that, don't you? So they are the examples of things that I did for fun, in my own time. Just wanted to do it. The more I did, hopefully, the better I got. Like I say, I am really pleased with this one. So that's really, I mean, I know I've leapt forward to the Polytechnic, but we have covered there now stuff I did at sixth form. So the next episode we're going to move on to Blackpool and Fowle College, where I went on to do an art foundation course, doing lots of different things, lots of different arty things there, and I've managed to dig up a few things from that. So that's going to be in the next episode. Hope you enjoyed this one. I shall see you again.